Okay. I guess to continue off of my last video, I'm going to be doing my review on the other book that I read. This one is called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, and it really does sound like how it reads. Let's move out of the way of this car. It's literally about the title. It's about adult children of emotionally immature parents. I usually don't talk about this aspect of my life in general, but as I make videos, I want my content to come across like genuine. I want to publicize some parts of my life. Not everything, of course, but some parts I want to get out there so that there's examples for other people to kind of latch onto and learn from. Which I feel like is the benefit of humanity, is we're able to learn from other people's mistakes and upbringings and their life, and use that information to make our lives better, or learn how to navigate certain obstacles that come up in our life. But growing up, I had a pretty tough childhood in some aspects, good childhood in other aspects. But one of them is dealing with my parents. It's been a hell of a journey for sure. And if that sounds familiar to you in any way or method, this book might be the book for you, I guess. But let me see if I can squeeze. Like literally just turned green. I thought I was gonna have more time. But this book kind of is written by I really should remember the author, more information about the author, even their name. I'm totally blanking on their name. I don't even know if I got their name reading the book. That should be something I should keep note of. But what I do know is that she's a psychotherapist or a psychologist. She's basically like, if you were to go to therapy, she's one of the people, she would be the therapist. And so this book is about helping people navigate life as an adult, dealing with parents who do not behave like adults, or did not behave as adults. I mean, a lot of the examples that she gave, this is like something I loved in the book. She gave like patient examples. I'm sure a lot of the information, like the names and stuff, were more privileged. She probably changed the names of everyone, but a lot of the behavior that her clients' parents demonstrated as a childhood, it kind of carried into adulthood, and like really impacted how her patients were able to like live and carry out their lives. So I love the examples that she gave, because it's like one thing to read advice from a therapist. Like, we all know therapist advice is like what is stuff we should be listening to, and it's like the right stuff. But it's interesting to see like actual examples of real people, and how like the negative aspects of having emotionally immature parents affects the relationship in childhood, and even well into adulthood, into like working life, personal relationships with friends, extended family, etc., etc. I think I learned as much from the patient examples as I did from the advice that she gave out. And there's some exercises in the book to kind of like help you determine like, oh, do you have emotionally immature parents? Are you displaying behaviors that are consistent with like having emotionally immature parents? I didn't really do many of the examples. I might do them in the future. They are available online. I think I took a picture of how to access them online, but this is a book I'm planning on purchasing. Like I said in my other review, I'm planning to purchase the books that I really do like, and just have them on hand, building a library. This is what I do plan on purchasing. I might end up going back and doing some of the exercises. I'll just have to kind of see. But it's such a powerful book. I've talked to like a few therapists, not like I haven't gone I definitely probably should go to therapy, but I've talked to like therapists, because I work in healthcare, so I've talked to a lot of people who work in healthcare, doctors, nurses, etc. And I feel like therapists are the one people that can kind of see through you. We all put up a front when we meet people, whether it's like a small front or a large front. And I feel like therapists can, like, no matter what kind of front you try to put up, because this is something they've had so much experience with and they've received education in and talked to so many people about, it's interesting to see how they pierce through your defenses, if you have any, or through the front that you put up. I'm trying to focus on this turn. Yeah, I think like it's like traffic is picking up at this time, so that's where there's so many cars out. They're like the one people that can see through you, and I mean, that's their job, to kind of see through the front that you put up the defenses and get to your true self, which is a term that she uses in this book. The role self is, it sounds exactly like the name. Your role self is the self that you put up when you're trying to fit within a role. And versus your true self is like who you are at your core, like the personality traits and your characteristics that you were born with and that you should be developing through your life. But you know, if your role self becomes too strong, it can like overpower your true self, but your true self will kind of like try and fight to be seen, which can lead to a lot of like emotional outbursts, depression, anxiety, whatever. I mean, the book goes into way more detail about what's going on, but making sure my home is closed so there's just not too much wind noise on the mic. But yeah, I mean, like a really insightful book. If you've ever had like any issues dealing with your parents' behavior, any, like, even if you think there's like a 5% chance, there's like a lot of insightful information in the book about recognizing, acknowledging, and like actively dealing with immature behavior from older adult members. As I've kind of grown up, now I'm 25, I have a different relationship with a lot of my extended family and my parents now that I'm an adult. I may not be like a 30, 40, 50-year-old, but I'm trying to take accountability for being an adult now, and that means taking accountabilities for the relationships that I have. Let's go straight so we can go slower. Once I go faster, the wind noise gets kind of unbearable in the recording. Now I'm trying to form a different type of relationship. I've been doing a lot of work cleaning up my relationship with the adults in my life, because I don't want to be like, I'm not a kid anymore, right? So, and now I have my own values and I'm my own person. I've definitely found myself observing the adults in my life from the lens of a fellow adult. And, you know, when you're growing up, you just assume everybody around you has their stuff figured out, right? Like, because they're, like, when you're a 10-year-old, of course you assume your parents know everything. They know how to do everything. They're, like, the most well put together people. And then you grow up and you start getting more insight. And now that I know a thing or two, I'm seeing differences in my ideal perspective, my ideal point of view, and reality. And that's been kind of hard because some of the adults in my life are not necessarily the best people or people that I want to be, that I might want to keep in my life just for personal reasons, like politics, point of view of life. Speaking as somebody who works in healthcare, I have a lot of experience actually working with people who are suffering from the decisions that are being made by the upper ups, versus a lot of my extended family are like business people, and they don't necessarily have that experience, right? Because they don't, like, I see patients every day and I get to actually see like who they are, get to know them, converse with them, versus, you know, if you're like working in politics or you're like a big CEO, or you like a company owner, you're not meeting any of the people who like these big decisions are really affecting. So it makes you wonder, how can they draw certain conclusions that they have drawn? That's something I've been kind of trying to figure out on how to deal. Hopefully this book, I'm gonna definitely be thinking about it more in the future, but Hopefully it'll let me figure out how to how to go forward and how to deal with that. But it's really insightful, great book. It's kind of like a self-healing, like self-improvement kind of book. I think self-improvement is the title for that category. I don't know what's going on there, but it's kind of one of those books. So I guess if you're trying to like self-improve and learn more about yourself and how to form healthy relationships as an adult, this is kind of the book for you. This book I'm gonna rate 9 out of 10. This rating thing is really hard for me. 10 out of 10. I don't think I'll ever rate any book out of 10 out of 10, but a 10 out of 10 book for me is like, it has like, I think it's worthy of a 10 out of 10. It's hard for me to say that this book is worthy of a 10 out of 10. What does it mean to, like, for a book to be worthy? Maybe you'll kind of realize once I read a 10 out of 10 book. I just picked up 2 more books from the library. I think one of them might have the potential to be a 10 out of 10. But I guess I'll kind of figure that out as I go. But 9 out of 10 I feel like is more than fair. Could I push it up to a 9.5 out of 10 like the last book I read? 20 Rules, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century? Maybe. It's hard for me to say. 9 out of 10 I feel like is fair. 9 out of 10 is like an amazing, incredible book, which I feel like this book is. See, I'm kind of lost here. I think I know where I'm going. Oh yeah, I know where I'm going. That guy has a cool helmet. He had like the fucking visor over the eyes. He looked like a 1980s space character or something. That was cool. But yeah, 9 out of 10 I feel like is more than fair. I would definitely recommend other people to read this book. Even if you don't have, even if you maybe have the best relationships with adults in your life, like your parents or uncles, aunts, whoever. Maybe you'll learn something from this book to avoid falling into the same pitfalls for the next generation, or for people that you have other relationships in your life. There's like relationship advice, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, in this book, which I could definitely see, being helpful. I'm sure you guys have heard the trope of like somebody getting into an abusive relationship that mimics the relationship that somebody had with their parents, because they fall for like the same like tactics, or they end up like dating their mom or their dad. This book, like, there was a whole chapter about that. Maybe like half a chapter. Looks like that car broke down. There's like half a chapter about that, and it was like definitely insightful to read, and the author gives some recommendations on how to like avoid that pitfall and how to get out of that, what do you call it? Stereotype? Yeah, stereotype in pursuing your own relationships. So, if you're having like relationship issues, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, there was like stuff about sibling too, about having like poor relationship, like having a sibling who's not treating you the right way, even as an adult. There was something about that. There's grandparents. The big one was parents, mom, dad. Yeah, I mean, a lot of examples, a lot of really insightful, good knowledge. This is good, like, life knowledge. This is something I'm gonna go back. This is why I want to, like, I'm only gonna purchase the books that I think I'm gonna go back and like skim through in the event that I have any of the issues that are outlined in this book in my future life. The last chapter I really liked. It was about kind of things to look for forming good, healthy relationships. This is something that I've struggled with. I've like not necessarily gotten in with the wrong crowd, but I've made friends with and formed relationships with people who are not necessarily the healthiest mentally. Like, they're not the most well put together. They've been immature. The lessons provided are definitely going to help me kind of figure out, okay, if I'm going to form a friendship or a relationship with someone in the future, these are the characteristics I want to look for. And like, she literally has an entire chapter talking about those characteristics. And even though some of them are kind of obvious, and knew about them. Everybody's kind of universally aware of some of them. It's helpful to have everything laid out like in a list. She literally provides like a checklist, actually, which is amazing for somebody to use in the future. But that's like something I'm gonna like. I'd go back and skim through, even as corny as it sounds. Like in our heads, we should be like, we think that, oh, we're supposed to have this stuff already figured out. But as I go through time and meet new people and like develop new relationships and old relationships, I'm starting to realize like nobody really has their shit figured out. All this stuff that we're supposed to have already known is, and the stuff that we think is obvious may not be obvious for another person, and it like goes the other way. If something is obvious for someone else, it may not be obvious for us. So that was definitely something I'm going to go back and look through. But I'm going to kind of end the review here. 9 out of 10. Definitely something I would recommend for other people to read. I know that last part was kind of a straightaway, but hopefully this video is entertaining enough. Alright, peace.